Haunted apartment. Hello, my name is Tony. Here is my experience with a Ouija board. I am a regular Ouija board user, have played it since I was 13, I am now 21. I have had my fair share of scares when using the board, simple things like my hair being pulled, lights going off, etc. My recent experience I had made me realize that Ouija is truly a game for the brave-hearted. I live in an old apartment built in 1900. After the first week of me living here, weird things would occur. My dog would bark furiously at moments, but there would be no danger around. My friends stopped coming over because they felt scared and as if someone were watching them. I decided to do a session in my apartment to hopefully pinpoint these weird occurrences. I lit my room with candles, burnt sage to cleanse the room, saying a prayer while doing so to keep bad spirits away. Here is the conversation that took place. Me. Are there any good spirits who would like to communicate? I waited for about 30 minutes before the pointer began to move. No. Me, you do not wish to speak to me? Yes. Me, are you a good spirit? 10 minutes of nothing. Yes. Me, are you the spirit that lingers in my home? No. Me, where did you come from? It spells out, wander. Me, what is your name? It moves to 1 then 0 then 1. Me, is this your age? Are you 101 years old? LT, no. Me, this is your name? Yes. Meanwhile, my dog is resting on the end of the bed with me. Me, how old are you? Nah. Me, you do not know how old you are? No. Me, do you cow the spirit that lingers in my home? Yes. Me, what is its name? It quickly moves to D. Me, who is D? It moves quickly to goodbye. I tried to ask it to continue to communicate, but there was no response after an hour of attempting, so I slid to goodbye to end the session. I blessed the room again and put my board up. I was falling fast asleep when fear woke me up. The sound of a loud banging/knocking coming from my room door woke me and my dog up. In my head, and thinking it is an intruder, the banging was so loud I thought it could be the police. My dog ran at the door and in his attack stance, growling and waiting for me to open the door. I grabbed my bat out the closet, so scared to see what was behind the door. I quickly swung the door open, no one was there. My dog began barking hard and somewhat jumping at the doorway, but I could see nothing to cause him to feel so aggressive. I searched the living room, kitchen, bathroom, pantry and closets to find no one or nothing. My windows were closed and it was the summertime, so there was no breeze to have suggested wind gust. I went back to my room, closed my door and locked it. I finally fell asleep, my dog still standing by the door waiting. It was no more than an hour later when that same banging at my room door happened. Again. With more bravery I ran at the door and swung it open, still no one was there. It was so frightening to go back to sleep, stay up the rest of the night, and my dog continued to stand at the door growling here and there. I have since broke my lease after 3 weeks of the banging that has occurred every night since my session. I now live in a new place and my dog has not been acting with extreme aggression like he was at my old place. I am scared to play with my board. And never touched another board again.
Max is always around. When I was about 14, my best friend had a sleep-over birthday party. Being the silly little girls we were, we decided to make a Ouija board to use. Not real knowing any of the rules, like making it say goodbye. After an hour or so I wandered off to read some tarot cards and watch the rest of The Exorcist with the other couple of girls who didn't want to. Kommune with Spirits. Rereading that last sentence, I sound like such a stereotype. I still use tarot cards though, so never grew out of this phase it seems. Here's where it got weird. After Elle left the spirit talking, my friends shung it. As in it switched to a different spirit altogether. His name was Max and he was looking for me. LVE never knauen a Max in my life. My friends yelled out what he was saying as it moved and I was writing off. As they teasing me until he started giving them information about me that no one at that party knew. Things about minor abuse I was facing and other lit things. That freaked me out right. I begged for them to stop playing, even after Max tried to convince me that he was not trying to hurt me. My friends were awesome and stopped playing before I started crying, and I thought that was the end of it. The next time a Ouija board came out was the next year, and only one girl from the original party was among the group. We were baking a cake, so when the buzzer went off she and I headed up to take it out of the oven. When we got back to the group, another girl turned to me and asked who's Max. Apparently he's stuck around after that first time. If my friends want to use a Ouija board, they don't invite me over unless they want to speak to Max. He's always around. A few times in my life I've heard a voice call out my name. It usually makes me stop for a minute, no more, but at least twice had I not stopped, I would have been in the path of a car going too fast to stop before it would have hit me. I strongly believe Max has stuck around to be helpful, but had we not pulled out that Ouija board, I would have never known about him.
Can't hide secrets from Ouija. One summer, 3 middle school boys discovered a Ouija board in a trash bin outside a local apartment building. Tom, the oldest, was terribly cruel to the younger boy, Josh. He would often punch Josh jokingly in the arm, but so hard that it would bruise. Other times he would call Josh stupid or a retard. The third boy, Chris, would avoid the abuse by remaining silent. Secretly, Chris and Josh disliked Tom's behavior, but they tolerated it because they had no other friends. That summer, the 3 boys took the discovered Ouija board to Tom's house, where he was alone most of the time anyway. His father was always working, and his mom had passed away years earlier. As the 3 boys sat in the middle of the living room with their hands on the planchette, they became bored after 20 minutes of waiting. When they were just about to give up, the planchette budged. Finally it spelled out, "Get away. Get away. I live here," Tom barked. The planchette started moving more briskly in a figure 8. "Now, that's weird. Now, that's weird. Wonder what it means," Chris said, glancing at Tom and Josh. He looked back at the board. "Where should we go?" Chris asked. "It hurts." "This is stupid," Tom said. He looked at Josh and Chris. "Yous are doing this, let's test it." "Josh, let go." Josh removed his hands from the planchette. "Now ask it a question that only you will know," Tom ordered. Josh immediately asked, "Who's the person who keeps hitting me?" Tom gave Josh a nasty glare, but the planchette was already moving quickly. "Ask Tom," it answered. "This is stupid," Tom said. "Dad, the board spelled." "Ha," Chris said, staring at the board. "I think this question is for Tom." He glanced up at Josh and they enchanting. "Dad, it's spelled again." Tom's breathing started to race. His face turned red and sweat formed on his brow. "Dad, it's spelled a 3rd time." Tom jumped up and ran from the room crying. It was the first time Josh and Chris had ever seen or heard Tom cry. They only learned a few days later that Tom's father routinely abused him. Somehow, the Ouija board knew Tom's innermost secret.
This is not a game anymore. Perfect story. 100% true. About 15 years ago, my sister had some friends over one night. They were in the basement watching some scary movie. They had an Ouija board. They started cussing at it and calling shit fake. It stopped responding, so they began watching the movie again. All of a sudden, all the lights and electricity goes out. They start screaming. Then the TV comes on all static and is blaring noises. They were yelling and crying. Then, the TV shuts off and comes back onto just a black screen. The words, "This is not a game anymore," roll across the screen in all white. After, the TV shuts off and they are in complete darkness. They run out of the house. Afterwards, they go back to the house and our dog hid, and when they found it, all it did was bark and look very angry at them. Insane.
June 24th, 1987. My girlfriend told me this story about an experience she had with a Ouija board while in high school sometime in 1986. She had a friend named Johnny who was suffering from CF or some other debilitating illness, who had recently been hospitalized as a result. Both she and her friend Shelley visited Johnny regularly in the hopes of keeping his spirits up and for a quick recovery. One night after visiting Johnny, they were at Shelley's when they decided to try out a Ouija board. After a while, they started communicating with a spirit who seemed to know a lot about them that it really shouldn't. After some banal questions about boys and general questions one would expect teenaged girls to ask, my girlfriend decided to ask about Johnny and his conscience. The board quickly spelled out June 24th, 1987. Johnny won't have to worry anymore, and went to goodbye. My girlfriend and Shelley were so convinced that board was giving them a date for recovery that they actually wrote the message down and sealed it in an envelope. The following year on 24 June, it turned out that Johnny indeed no longer needed to worry about his condition.